Guys, welcome back to Jamie Allan Golf. If you've got any thoughts on any previous content, make sure you post your comments below and like the video that I've previously published. So guys, what we're going to talk about today is 3 death moves that I see normally when coaching and move number 1 is what I see is when people get a little bit underplaying on the way back, but they have no alternative but to swing over the top. So what I mean by that is they take the club too far on the inside on the way back, and what happens to this club face? This club face fans open, so this club face almost points more towards the sky, and as the club approaches impact, the club face is pointing right of our ball to target line. That has a direct influence on the curvature on the golf ball and the initial direction. So let's go through that again. So the number 1 fault I see is when people get a little bit underplaying. A lot of golfers do that because you tell them that you need to swing more from the inside, but a lot of golfers misinterpret this. So they'll go too far on the inside, and then from there, for me to create any space on the way back, what I have to do is, the club face is open on the way back, so what I have to do is I have to swing over the top to actually try and make contact and close the face. That's just kind of the compensation that needs to be made. So the first move I see away is that disconnection. So see the gap between the butt end of the club and my body, so we fan the club face open almost in that position, right? So to stop doing that, think about the butt end of the club and your belt buckle staying in better connection. So even if you feel like, if you fan the club face open, say there's a big gap between the butt end of the club and your belt buckle, so that gap needs to be a little bit closer together. So what we need to do is think about, we're turning our body, so we're getting the club to here, we're getting the club to kind of waist tight, club parallel to the ground. So if we go on the inside, the butt end shoots out and the club head shoots behind. So think about, we're keeping the butt end nice and close to our body, we're getting to the top of the backswing, and we're just having a couple of checkpoints. So club face is a neutral position, butt end's kind of pointing towards me, we're getting to the top of the backswing, then we can almost get into a better downswing position. So let right hand off the club and clasp that against your left wrist. So if I fan the club face open, what's going to happen is my knuckles are going to turn to the sky and the club face is going to be slightly open. So the idea is we want to keep the knuckles kind of down to start off with, and the thumb pointing directly down the grip. So our left arm stays in better position to the top, and then from there the butt end stays nice and close to our body, and as we come back down we're going to be in a better position on the way down. So think about that drill, the butt end a little bit closer to your body on the way down and on the way back. So golfers try and hit the ball too hard, and what happens is they get a little bit long at the top. So the easy way to think about this is we don't rotate our hips enough and we don't rotate our upper body enough, so we don't create that almost coil between our lower body and upper body where kind of the lower body's resisting, the upper body's rotating, but we'll go into more detail about that. So the number 1 kind of fault I see is when people stand too narrow a driver, and what happens is their legs buckle in this way, so they don't create enough rotation in their hips. So what happens from there is their legs buckle in the way, their lower body doesn't rotate, their arms have no alternative but to keep on rotating, and their arms continue in this position. So how do we stop that? So if I was to do face on position, think about the butt end of the club again. So if I get into this position where my arms continue, I don't create enough coil in my lower body, I don't create enough stability either, my arms keep going, continuing. See this butt end of the club? See how that shoots almost up to the sky? So you see your hands, my hands are pointing to the sky there, almost in that position, almost John Daly like. From there, if I was to swing long, think about the golf swing's a chain reaction. For me to start the downswing, my hips have to move, right? But if I was to get into a position where my swing gets a little bit long at the top, then if I was to rotate my hips from there, what's going to happen is the club's going to be miles behind me, and I'm going to be massively off plane. So what we have to do from there, if we swing long, we have to almost start with the upper body to try and start the downswing. And what happens from there is if I come close to the camera, the club shaft just gets a little bit steep, paths a little bit to the left. So what we need to do is we need to shorten our backswing. How do we do that? In order for us to shorten our backswing, we have to kind of use the lower body and upper body a bit more efficiently. So what I mean by that is an overswing is created by a lack of rotation in the shoulders because the arms keep continuing. If we rotate our shoulders properly, the arms have a barrier to stop going, if that makes sense. So get to the top of the backswing, the butt end of the club has to almost point kind of level with your right foot. We always think we're swinging shorter than we actually are, okay? But realistically, if we feel like we're swinging 3/4, there's a good chance that you're swinging a little bit more than full. So we get to the top of the backswing, the butt end kind of has to point down towards my right heel. We're not pointing up to the sky, so think about restricting your arm swing slightly, but rotating your body a little bit more. You should almost feel the coiling action against your right side, okay? So if I was to not coil anything at all, so if I wasn't to get any weight in my right side, as you can see there, I find it actually very difficult to breathe. So let's go through this again. Rotating into our right side, I feel that pressure all the way kind of inside my leg, and then from there I can able to turn and hit the ball. So lower body has to start transitional movement, upper body follows as the lower body starts to set off. This is kind of one of the biggest issues I see in golf, and it's generally, you say a lot of golfers, oh, you're swinging too fast. The one thing I always say is, there's no such thing as too fast. It's generally, if you're keeping balance, then that's efficient for you. But the number one fault I kind of see is when people after impact, what they do is they take the club back. Obviously, we go back to the previous 2 death moves where we're swinging a little bit long, and from there we're swinging inside. So almost in this action, we're swinging inside, we get a little bit long at the top. Then from there, we start with the upper body down the way the lower body kind of doesn't initiate first. So the number one fault I kind of see is people don't keep balance on the way through. So think about, if I was hitting towards this target from down the line, what's going to happen is golfers take the club back. From there, they start the movement, but they lose balance. So this right foot kind of kicks back. Okay, so this right foot kind of stays planted. And from there, if I was to come close to the camera, that right foot stays planted, which means my weight doesn't get off my back foot. So what we need to feel like we're doing is pretend the target in front of me is a camera, okay? This is a drill that you use with beginner golfers, so feel like as we come through, we're posing for the camera, so the target's the camera. That helps us keep balance and helps us almost pose for the camera. So if I was to take the club back, my right foot has to come off the ground. That's going to get my hips moving forward. My right heel should come off the ground slightly, so the heel moves in the way first, then the toe kind of spins around, and then we get our weight left. So after impact, we're taking the club back on the backswing, sorry. Our right heel comes off the ground, our right foot spins in, and from there, we're getting our chest, we're getting our arms, the face towards the target, or the logo on your jacket. That's generally going to help you keep balance. So think of 3 or 4 seconds after impact, we're holding the pose. So we're getting into this position, we're holding the pose, and everyone is applauding our great shot we just hit. So guys, 3 death moves that's going to improve your overall golf swing. So if you're looking for a drill to improve your balance, you do the same thing every morning, every night for 2 minutes. That is brushing your teeth. So stand on one leg for 1 minute, your left leg when you're brushing this side of your mouth, and then swap over to your right side for 1 minute. It's just going to help you balance. Make sure you're standing on a flat surface though. So guys, 3 death moves there. What we talked about was the club going inside too much on the way back, then overplaying. That's going to help create that cut across motion. Long swings created from a lack of coiling between the upper and lower body. And tip number 3 is balance. So make sure we keep our balance after the impact position, so we're posing for the camera. So guys, any thoughts on any of the videos, make sure you post your comments below, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and thanks for listening.